As it turns out, and this morning, instead of talking about ways to find a job, we're talking about ways that employers employees adapt to the changing in their gigs. That way they hang on to the employment that they have. Now, one study says the most important skill someone can have, according to HR directors, is the ability to actually change their role. Think about this. Wire telecom, hand cutting and sewing, and even printing. If you have these skills and these skills alone, you're not willing to change, you may soon find yourself on the outside of the workforce. Now, Lori Cook joins us this morning. And even in this business, Lori, in TV, the roles have changed 180 degrees from what we do and what we did even 10 years ago.
Right, so even if the industry still stays, it's the way that you work and succeed in that industry change constantly, and we're always embracing new technologies. I was thinking when I got this job, I'm very familiar with using a laptop, but now I use an iPad. You're constantly changing and upgrading and figuring out what your new role is going to be. So yeah, cut and sew manufacturing, they're expecting a 57% decline over the next decade. It's kind of like, whoever, the poor guy that was making horse and buggies when Henry Ford rolled out the Model T.
Right.
If he didn't learn to adapt and go into something else, he's going to be lost.
And and I think we certainly all know friends or family or people, coworkers that absolutely refuse, this is my job and I'm not going to do it that way. I'm not going to change. Those are the ones that eventually are going to find themselves applying somewhere else.
Right. We have customers all the time that come to the job center that say, I'll do anything, I want any job, but as you talk to them, all they really want is their old job. They want to do what they used to do. I talked to a manager from Verizon and said, what are you looking for in your customer service reps? And they said, number one, adaptability, because we have constantly changing technology, new services, changeover in staff. There's all these changes, and we have to be able to adapt to those.
Right. Even like I said, TV changes as well. If you want to be, if you're an anchor, and they may say, well, we're getting away from that, doing something else. If you say, this is what I do, darn it.
Well, think about what didn't even exist 10 years ago. You never had an app developer 10 years ago. You didn't have all the sustainability managers that we have now. And elder care did not exist as much as it does today. So there's all these new industries that are coming. And tomorrow I'm going to teach a class called Enhance Your Employability, and we're going to talk about why we have to adapt and then free ways to gain those 21st century skills that we need. So yesterday I'm talking to our learning engagement manager at the library, and she shows me this little device, which reminds me of the America's Funniest Videos, where you used to vote and you always saw the people, and they had like the Zach Morris version that was like this big. Well, this will allow me with my class to be interactive and have them answer. So if someone's interested in showing how adaptable they are to new technology, come to the class tomorrow. It's at 12 o'clock. Okay. They can call the library, 929-3401, and register for that class. And not only will you get to play with a new gadget and help me learn if I can do it.
Who doesn't love that?
But you'll also learn why we have to be adaptable, how to be adaptable, and how, again, to gain those 21st century skills that we need. Because if you're not moving forward, somebody's passing you by.
Ooh, I like that. You should coin that phrase. Lori Cook, the RCPL, Richland County Public Library Job Center, free services, of course, for the community. But you're right, man. You gotta change. Just because it's not your job you got hired for, sometimes you got to do it.
That's exactly right.
Thank you so much, Ms.
Good
Cook.
to be
Great
here.
stuff as always. Well, you know what, Facebookers, beware! Oh, Mark may be trying to hijack your email address.